Good evening, let's do this, and welcome to this inaugural concert at JTS. To those of you who are here in our beautiful auditorium, and to those of you who have joined us on the live stream, thank you for being here with us. I'm Nancy Abramson, the director of the H.L. Miller Cantorial School here at JTS. Thank you, Gerald. To the cantorial students sitting here, that applause was for you. Together with my co-producer, Dr. David Kramer, standing in the back of the JTS Library, we are very excited to bring you Reaching for the Heavens, the music of composer Gerald Cohen. Producing this concert of Gerald's beautiful music has been a delight. In just a moment, I will bring Gerald to the stage to introduce his music, but first, some thank yous. Many thanks to the sponsors of tonight's concert, Cantor David Lipp and Floy and Amos Kaminsky. Your financial support has enabled us to bring top quality musicians to JTS to perform this wonderful music. Thank you to the JTS administration and facilities departments for taking care of the myriad details necessary to mount a program like this. Special thanks to Aidan Fisher-Brown in the Cantorial School office and to Chris Hickey and Larry Camiola for all of their tech assistance. Thank you to Marilyn Okoshi, who served as our student greeter and usher tonight. One announcement, please keep your masks on and make sure your cell phones are off. One on, one off. And now it is my honor to introduce my colleague and friend, Gerald Cohen.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Nancy, for your words, for your friendship, and thank you, Nancy, David, for all your efforts to bring this concert to be. Originally planned for 2020, and then something seemed to happen, and finally coming to fruition now. And echoing all the thanks that Nancy gave, I also want to a shout out to Beth Holob for the beautiful program booklet. So thank you, Beth. And thank you, JTS. It's an honor to teach here for so many years and to work with so many wonderful students and so many wonderful faculty colleagues over this time. JTS did an amazing thing in creating this beautiful new auditorium as part of their 21st century project. As you may have heard, this is actually the first public concert in the hall. It was basically ready to go a couple years ago, and then stuff happened. I've already spent a lot of time here, mainly recording with the Cassatt Quartet, and it is a great chamber music hall. And I'm so excited that we can have this as a hall for doing chamber music as well as lectures. And since it is the first public concert here, I would like to sing kind of inauguration of the hall. I'd like to sing Shechianu, the quintessential Jewish prayer of thanks, in a setting that I wrote a number of years ago. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh, who gives us life and sustains us and enables us to reach this day. Amen. Amen. The program booklet, which aforementioned program booklet, gives you some basic program notes about the piece. So I'm not going to duplicate those, but in my intros, I want to talk about how the pieces came to be, mainly in terms of the wonderful performers that I wrote them for, and many of whom are performing them tonight. People often ask composers and other artists, what inspires you? And while that is a complicated question with a lot of different answers, I'd say that one of the most basic answers for me is what inspires me is composing for wonderful performers on a specific project and with a deadline as to when it's to be performed. All those things. A paid commission helps too, but that's sort of a separate thing. And the beautiful thing is when those wonderful performers also become friends through our work making music together. So the first piece is called Sea of Reeds. It's a set of 5 settings of my vocal Hebrew songs turned into instrumental pieces. And the story of this, it has an interesting sort of connection to the thing. Chaim Avitzur, who's going to be a trombonist for the final piece, like about 20 years ago said, you know, I really like your Adonai Roi. Could I play it as a solo trombone piece? I said, oh, okay, sure. And he did it, and it really worked beautifully. And he's a beautiful player, as you'll hear. So it was good. So then, a few years later, when a wonderful young clarinetist named Vasco Dukovsky and another clarinetist and the pianist Alexandra Joanne, who you'll hear in a minute, asked me to write a piece for them, I had the idea of setting 5 of my vocal pieces, liturgical pieces for 2 clarinets and piano. And it was great fun to write those pieces and have them performed by these really wonderful performers. Then with Alexandra as the pianist. Then along came the pandemic in 2020, no concerts happening, and I decided I wanted to write a piece for solo piano. And although I'm a pianist, I really haven't written recently that many pieces for solo piano. And I had the idea that I would love to make these 5 songs into real piano pieces. And I knew I wanted Alex, this wonderful pianist who I'd written the other versions for, to play them. So I wrote them for her. I think she was pleased with that. Last year, she made an excellent video version of them, and today finally gets to play them in person. So this is Sea of Reeds, the world premiere, with Alexandra Joanne as the pianist. She heard that was her cue. Can you hear me out there? Good. No. Oh, okay. She's pretty good, huh? This is just a sign. Chris, Larry, I don't know if there's any way that they can hear in back in the green room what we're saying out here. If not, then that's okay. I'll just open the door for them when I'm done talking. So first of all, I do want to acknowledge you in the audience. There are so many of you that I know from so many different places in my life. Many from the synagogue, from our dialogue group, from our movie group, from JTS, from long work together putting together concerts, and lots of other ways. So I really appreciate your support of me, and I love seeing all of you out here. So thank you so much. The next piece is Amid the Alien Corn. Is actually the only piece of sort of the real world premiere. Again, that was supposed to be performed here in 2020. It was commissioned by the poet of the text, whose name is Ethel Beach. Ethel's not able to be here this evening, but I believe she's on the live stream. So hi, Ethel. Greetings. So glad that we're finally getting to this place. As many of you know, I love writing opera, and have written an opera, Sarah and Hagar, with librettist Charles Kondek, which is basically an extended midrash, or storytelling on that story from the book of Genesis, exploring the relationship of those women and each of them, of their relationship to Abraham, and to being a mother. So for me, composing this piece was basically a similar process on a smaller scale. Think of it as an opera scene and setting up a dramatic situation musically and developing the characters and their relationship. Probably most of you know something about the story of Book of Ruth. Naomi and her husband go to live in the land of Moab with their two sons who marry Moabite women, and then the sons and Naomi's husband all die, and Naomi's about to go back to the land of Israel, and Ruth says, "I will go with you." There's actually another daughter-in-law in the story as well, but we simplified it. She's not in our piece here. And with then the very famous line, "Wherever you will go, I will go. Wherever you live, wherever you die, I will die, and my people will be you. Your people will be my people." So Ethel, in her poem, expanded on this and created a poetic version of it. When we finally, for this concert, had the chance to present the world premiere, I knew I wanted to perform it. The three wonderful women you're about to hear. Alex Joanne, you've already know from the previous piece. Soprano Alana Davidson, who will play the part of Ruth, originated the role of Hagar in Sarah and Hagar in our first workshop of that opera, and also the role of Ina Soup in the first workshop of Steal a Pencil for Me, which was done both here at JTS and at my synagogue, Shari Tikva, in Scarsdale. Heather Johnson is a marvelous mezzo who I first met when she played Sarah Palin in an aria that I wrote, a long story which I can explain to you. Alana and Heather are very good friends, but neither of them had ever met Alex, and I really cherished the idea of bringing these amazing performers together to get to know each other and to create this first performance. You have in your program a sheet with a text to the piece. Note that at the beginning of the piece they are acting as narrators, and then they transition to become the characters of Ruth and Naomi. So now the world premiere of Amid the Alien Corn. Let me see if the performers are ready. Okay.
Instead of wheat, green thistles thrived, corn cockle instead of barley. Naomi and her husband, with their 2 sons, left their home, for they were starving. Left Judah for the meadows of Moab. Over time the sons married, dreaming of Moab. But then God covered in death both husband and sons. Beloved men, but they perished too young. a pitiful widow marooned in Moab, and I must go home. I must leave this place to seek my native land. I must leave this place and return to Judah, to Judah's newly made golden fields. I will go with you to Judah. No, my daughter, do not come with me. I will go with you to Judah. No, my darling, I cannot bear to see you exiled from Moab. I cannot see you displaced as I once was. I will go with you
of the stage crew, too. Oh my God.
Really strike up
Thank you again to these wonderful performers and to Ethel Beach, the author of the text. Exciting to finally hear the piece. So the rest of the program will be all the Cassatt Quartet and friends. I'm sure most of you, or many of you, know the Cassatt Quartet, and some of you have, I think, have even heard the concerts with my piece them playing. In 2011, the Cassatt Quartet commissioned me to compose a piece about the Terezin concentration camp. That piece became Playing for Our Lives, which the quartet has performed many times, and performed and recorded virtually in this auditorium last year, at a time when we could not have live concerts. We really loved working together, and I was always so thrilled with their devotion to rehearsing, with such determination and love, to getting just the right sound and emotion. So a few years later, we decided to work on to do another piece together. We discussed the idea of voyages. They had an idea of a concert about voyages, and somehow the first day that I started to work on the piece, I thought the idea of the Voyager spacecraft and the golden record. For those of you who may not know too much, the Voyager spacecraft were launched in 1977 and were the first, the only spacecraft ever to visit Neptune and Uranus. Are still flying. They're past the solar system now. They're out of the solar system, but still sending weak signals back to Earth. And it's quite amazing because it's basically technology from the 1960s taking off in the 1977 and still doing its job. And Carl Sagan had the idea of attaching a record to the spacecraft, which would be it's actually a literal record, like a phonograph record, which has both visual and audio material. And part of the audio material is sounds of the Earth, and part of it is their very idiosyncratic choice of some of the greatest hits of the world music. Sort of biased towards Western music, but not only Western music. So my idea was to weave those together in a piece that would talk about human exploration and the power of music and art to help us reach out. In a way, it's the least Jewish piece of the program, but in a way, it's the most spiritual, in that for me, it's reflecting the smallness of humanity in the vast universe, but our striving through science, art, and religion to understand that vastness and our place in it. Anyway, I really want to bring some of my favorite performers together. That's sort of the theme of this concert. And so suggested that it be a quintet with clarinet, written for Vasco Dukovsky, who I'd written Sea of Reeds for, and the Cassatt Quartet. It was so inspiring for me to work on a piece imagining a combination of these players. When it came time to give the premiere, we were really fortunate that we were able to do it at the Hayden Planetarium on 81st Street, done under the dome with projections of the spacecraft and the planets. Sorry, no projections this evening. One other note, sort of sad, as you can see on this program, Vasco is not the clarinetist on this concert. Very unfortunately, and here's a little whatever, Vasco's artist visa was not renewed a few years ago after his living in the United States for more than 15 years. He's from Macedonia. He and his wife, Shenyun, are now living in Shanghai, doing very well there. It's China's gain and the US's loss, and of course the loss of all his friends and his colleagues. Again, a long story which I can tell you about sometime. Anyway, when it came time to record and perform the piece this year, I was fortunate to have from Vasco a recommendation of a wonderful younger colleague of his, Narek Arutunian. And it's such a pleasure to work with you, Narek, and with the Cassatt Quartet. The piece is in 4 movements that are listed in the program, but the movements are continuous without pause. The piece as a whole is about 30 minutes long. As you can see, the names of the movements are the different pieces. One is a Beethoven piece, one is an Indian raga, and one is a Renaissance dance. And then the final movement is beyond the heliosphere, when the spacecraft finally moves out of the solar system. So now Voyagers with the Cassatt Quartet and Narek Arutunian. And I'll make sure they're here. don't come out, so you'll come out for the final go. Yeah. All right, so now we've explored space. Thank you for going on that journey with me. These wonderful performers. So the final piece on the program, Preludes and Debka, begins quietly and mysteriously like Voyagers, but I hope that the lively ending will help you to go forth dancing from the auditorium. As you may know, pieces for trombone and string quartet are a lot less common than pieces for clarinet and string quartet. The origins of the piece come from Chaim Avitzur, the trombonist playing this evening. Chaim and I met when he played another piece of mine, and he had, and as far as I know still has, a dream of building a repertoire for trombone chamber music, particularly with string quartet. I also mentioned he was the one who first played Adonai Roi as an instrumental piece. I really loved exploring the trombone back then with Chaim and thinking about how to combine trombone and string quartet. He performed this piece quite a few times after it was premiered, but Chaim and I have not worked together for a number of years now. So I'm really thrilled to bring him and the Cassatt together to play Preludes and Debka this evening. I also wanted to mention that the Cassatt String Quartet has made such recently a change in its makeup. We recorded Voyagers and Preludes and Debka in February, just before the retirement of violist Aling Nu and cellist Betsy Anderson. And so this was my first time working with Rose Nels and Gwen Krosnick, in addition to the longtime members and friends, Muniko Otani and Jennifer Leschnauer. As you can imagine, changing half of the players in a string quartet is a pretty big thing for the group. I am so impressed with the new ensemble and how quickly they have created a new, old, and wonderful ensemble. So for the final piece on the concert, Preludes and Debka for trombone and string quartets. Okay.
Yeah.
One more back. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. Have a seat for just a second. Live or virtually. And thank you again to all of you, especially thank to Nancy Abramson and David Kramer for making this concert happen. And thank you to JTS for making this beautiful hall happen. Is this amazing, having this wonderful auditorium? And thank you to all you wonderful, wonderful performers. I am so in debt to you for making this. Thank you. I'd like to sing one more song for you. A setting of Yivarechecha that I think many of you know, written quite a few years ago on the birth of our daughter, Cass, and performed with my dear friends, Alana Davidson and Alexandra Joanne. So here's Yivarechecha. I guess everyone else can go listen. Yeah, I have it. For you. Thank you. A blessing for all of you.
Adonai,